policies of the government is being laudable. They need to do. I saw the report earlier by the minister of the FCT, Wike, where he said some buses, will be put in place for FCT residents. Even a light rail project is currently in the works, so people can now go about their business on it. So, pending the arrival of all this project or the completion of all this project, how will Nigerians survive? What is the way? Should we still be suffering like this?
That's the question.
And be paying this high on transportation when we are a fuel-producing country?
During the Yuletide, the president's wife had made a statement. She talked about thanking Nigerians for their sacrifice and all that. And the question, which begs the question, right? What sacrifice is the government making? Yes, the president said, okay, we're cutting down on travel, costs and all of that. But what other sacrifice are you making? Because we're not seeing the government sacrificing. In Nigeria, it seems as though it is not leadership by example. It is leadership by order. You tell them to do this. Oh, Nigerians, una go suffer this thing for a while, and then we have to suffer it for that time being. And you begin to wonder, what else? Which leads me to the next headline here. Entourage for non-compliance. Because you know that when it comes to things like this, there are still some coconut heads appointees, government officials who would still go ahead with the normal previous entourage allowance that was attainable at the time. So the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry has asked the federal government to clarify the penalties that would be meted out to government officials who fail to comply with the president's directive on the reduction of the size of the entourage for local and international travels. Now, in a statement signed by the DG of the chamber, Chinyere Almona, the chamber commended the president for the move, describing it as a decisive step to curb excessive travel spending and align with the need for financial prudence in the management of public funds. Now, it said the reduction in the entourage size was a commendable step towards cost cutting, and that exercise will result in significant savings vis-a-vis Ester codes and duty allowances and all that. However, the chamber was of the view that there might be resistance from some government officials that are already accustomed to larger entourages, and enforcing compliance could be challenging. It has therefore sought clarification on the sanctions for non-compliance would be essential to ensure effective implementation. Now, the statement read in part, the LCCI is pleased that the government is heeding the incessant calls for the reduction of the cost of governance. However, the president's decision to lead by example via the implementation of these measures will set a precedence for government officials at various levels to follow suit, fostering a culture of fiscal responsibility and accountability. Yes, the president has set the right tone, trying to be prudent and cutting the cost of, entourage, travel allowances and all that. If the president, for one reason or the other, travels with 31 as opposed to the 30, let's say 30 people now that are allowed to travel internationally, right? So if the president now travels with 31, what's going to happen?
The implication.
What's the implication? Because it's one thing we saw the Buhari's administration talking about cutting costs. Oh, these number of individuals are allowed to travel with you. This number of individuals are allowed to travel. But we didn't see implementation of all that. We didn't see. In fact, the former president at the time traveled with a lot of people. Even people in his cabinet traveled with their own entourage as well. So you begin to wonder, all these entourages, are they really, really needed? Are they needed? Because we've seen presidents travel outside the country in the name of, we're going to hustle for, quote unquote, we're going to get international investments and all that come into the country. It's all good, but what does that translate to the life of an average Nigerian? Do they feel it? So you travel, and what's the daddy yo that you are bringing back when you come? What exactly is it? Because we saw a lot of travels, especially with Buhari's administration, and it didn't translate to development for Nigerians.
Yeah, You're very right. Anyway, thumbs up to the president for actually making this particular decision. But I love what the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry have actually said. They lauded the president for that initiative. Why? Again, they asked the question, what will be the implication if anyone flouts this order? Whether it's your vice president, whether it's any government official, maybe
or your wife,
heads of ministries,
yes,
and parastatals. The truth is, the wife doesn't even really whatever cost should that the wife of the president should incur should be personal aside, because these days there's no even office of the first lady. Normally, in
it's not recognized in
any
our constitution
of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So this is part of the illegalities we're talking about when it comes to the Nigerian state. But now, what the president have actually said so far with the cutting down or slashing the number of MTARAJ in the country is a good one. This is coming, about a month after we saw, about 1,411 delegates from Nigeria, where they went all the way to Dubai for the United Nations Annual Climate Summit. And it was in that same summit we heard, Nigerians on social media decided to juxtapose, an image of one of the delegates from another country and the image of one Nigerian who attended the event. And of course, from the image of the person, we heard the person giving detailed analysis of what is being done by their country and what these delegates hope to achieve once they go to Dubai, especially for the climate change summit. And you could hear how detailed this person was talking about. This is their plan, this is their goal, and this is what they hope to achieve. And then from the part of the Nigerian delegates, we saw the person posting a picture and writing how did they even put it? He said Dubai chilling. You'd like Dubai chilling with Nigerians with our hard. That's the truth. With our hard-earned money, with my tax, your tax that you pay, on a monthly basis, if it comes from your salaries or even the VAT you pay to the Nigerian government, and somebody is going to Dubai in my accounts. And with my money, because at the end of the day, this is the collective money of Nigeria, and it's posting and it's writing Dubai chilling, and they put your name among the delegates that should go for a climate change summit. And since those people came back from Dubai, the question you ask yourself, what have you done
has been done
to drive the climate change agenda in Nigeria? And you are talking about cutting cost of this thing, and 1,000. Only Nigeria had 1,411 delegates in one country.
Yes, we're the ones with the highest.
Over 24 billion, 2.7 billion naira in taking these people to Dubai. I'm back. And you get to ask yourself, which way Nigeria?
Simeon, at this point, I think it's safe to say that government or business as usual cannot continue. It can't continue anymore. We can't keep allowing the politicians do with taxpayers' monies whatever they will. We can't allow that to continue anymore, because Nigerians are suffering. And we should see an equal amount of suffering on the part of the politicians. We should see an equal amount of, not necessarily suffering, quote unquote, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. We should see an equal amount of sacrifice from the part of the government. That's all we're asking. We're asking you to lead by example. If you want Nigerians to bear with you and be comfortable in the state that we're in right now, then we should see that in governance, cost of governance, and all of that. Anyway, I think we've flogged that issue. Now, moving on to another headline this morning.
Okay, let's move on and get to talk of the Nigerian customs, because this one is a good one. This goes to show that we are generating revenue, and shout out to the Nigerian Customs Service. As still talking about monies and business and revenue generation, the semi-customs facility, have actually brought in or raked in about 5.94 billion naira in revenue for Nigeria, and we've actually seen about 32.448 billion naira exports through the same semi-custom facility. And according to the report, it said the semi-border command of the NCS, that's the Nigerian Customs Service, has said it facilitated about 442,000 metric tons of goods, and this includes about 6,253 trucks of export produce with free on board value of 32.4 billion naira. And it also said it has generated 5.9 billion in revenue in 2023 for the federal government of Nigeria?
Well, I think it's commendable that the customs, do what they do. They rake in money. We see customs, especially the NCS, they've been trying as much as they can to raise revenue for the country, but there's still corruption that is racked up in that particular service. You have to look at the fact that people find it, sometimes you have to grease palms to allow some of those vehicles pass. You have to, rub my back, I rub your back, scratch my back, I scratch your back, just to be able to allow some people's goods pass. Some stuff are even seized. What happens to those seized, goods? What happens to them? Who takes account of those other goods? So when it comes to, yes, we give kudos to the NCS for raking in revenue, but there are still loopholes there that need to be plugged. We need to fill out those loopholes to ensure that there's nobody pilfering and stealing our monies in the name of whatever it is. Right?
Nigerian Customs Service have actually been, in the eye of Nigerians, because we've seen and heard several reports of, some form of corruption happening in there, because this is what they've recorded so far. And the question is, how many have actually gone unrecorded? How many of those goods that have been exported through that same semi-border facility that's not even on the NCS record? How many of it have actually even come into the country? How many people have smuggled goods into the country, like rice? I remembered when they banned rice. How many rice importers brought in rice through the semi-border without even the knowledge of the Nigerian Customs Service? So it is necessary that the Nigerian Customs Service do more, because if they plug in all the holes, they cross their T's and dot their I's properly, we'll definitely see the revenue generating capacity of the NCS go beyond what it is at the moment. We'll definitely see an increment. And when we talk about our fund generating agencies, even MDAs of government, Nigerian Customs Service will be one of the highest revenue generating service agency for the country. So they need to do more. This is laudable, is a good one. Previous administration, when you talk about the money generated by the customs service, we used to be like, they used to see it anyhow. There was no valid data, supporting it. But it's a good one for the NCS. Shout out to the Controller General, and we hope that they do better and do more.
All right, so we've come to the end of Business Around Town. Join us for another edition on Monday. Make a comeback on Monday, and hopefully we'll be better. We'll be back and better at that time. But we'll be back at around say 10:50 to say goodbye to you. But from now up until 10:50, it's one hour of uninterrupted music. We'll sign out at the top of the hour, 11 a.m. So let's pay some bills, and thank you so much for listening to Business Around Town. My name is Gesira, by the way,
and my name is Simeon Sunday.